In the dusty streets of Fallujah, a tale of heroism, betrayal, and controversy unfolded. Blackwater, a private military company, played a pivotal role in the Iraq War, often straying into the limelight for the wrong reasons. In 2004, an incident involving Blackwater would not only shock the world, but also change the course of the conflict. Amidst the echoing gunshots and roaring engines, 4 contractors embarked on what seemed like a routine mission. But what happened next? Join us as we delve deep into the heart of Fallujah, unearthing a story that many have heard of, but few truly know. And remember, every story has layers waiting to be unveiled. The shadows of the 9/11's attack stretched far and wide. They didn't just touch the streets of New York, but reached the distant lands of Iraq. By 2003, the American troops had set foot on Iraqi soil, intending to stamp out terror and establish peace. But peace, as they quickly discovered, was a tricky, evasive goal. Iraq was like a puzzle, but the pieces wouldn't fit together. The U.S. military faced relentless challenges as they grappled with an unfamiliar terrain and an ever-growing resistance. The streets weren't just pathways, they became battlegrounds. The houses weren't just homes, they turned into fortresses of resistance. Amid the turmoil, the U.S. government made a controversial call. They brought in private military companies to aid in their mission, the most prominent of which was Blackwater. On paper, Blackwater looked like the perfect solution. They were professional, efficient, and armed with experience. But in practice, there was a twist. Blackwater operated in a gray zone. They didn't wear the same badges or follow the same rules as the military. Their tactics, aggressive. Their accountability, questionable. As 2004 dawned, opposition to U.S. presence intensified. The once quiet towns now echoed with protests, ambushes, and covert operations. Fallujah became the emblem of this resistance. Its streets, markets, and alleys pulsed with insurgent activity, becoming a thorn in the U.S.'s strategy. Into this heated environment entered 4 men from Blackwater. Each carried a legacy of military excellence. Scott Helvenston, a former Navy SEAL with a history in combat zones. He'd jumped from war scenarios to movie sets, showing off his skills in films like G.I. Jane. Jerry Zovko, an Army Ranger veteran. He was as fit as they come, known for his unwavering dedication. Wesley Badalona, another U.S. Army Ranger, but with a calm that belied the chaos of war. He was a rock, unshaken even when bullets flew. Michael Teague, a U.S. Army Special Forces veteran. From Bosnia to Afghanistan, he'd seen it all, earning his stripes in multiple conflict zones. On a blistering day in March 2004, the heart of Fallujah, a city already tense from insurgency activities, was about to witness a significant event. The sun glared down on a convoy with a mission. 2 flatbed trucks laden with food supplies for a U.S. military base, and 2 seemingly robust SUVs. These vehicles, though appearing sturdy, were unarmored. A crucial oversight that would soon have dire consequences. Inside these SUVs sat 4 Blackwater contractors. As the convoy moved steadily, the buildings of Fallujah stood tall on either side, silent witnesses to the brewing storm. The vehicles' engines rumbled, blending with the distant sounds of a city bustling with life, a facade for the underlying tension that permeated the air. Suddenly, chaos erupted. Insurgents, armed to the teeth with rifles, rocket-propelled grenades, and a burning desire to strike at these foreign contractors, ambushed the convoy. Roadblocks and barricades seemed to sprout from nowhere, boxing the convoy in. Gunfire echoed through the streets, creating a chilling symphony of war. The rear SUV, carrying Helvenston and Teague, bore the brunt of the initial assault. Bullets peppered the vehicle, spiraling through doors and shattering windows. Inside, the scenario was grim. Before they could even react, both Helvenston and Teague were shot, their experiences and training rendered futile in mere seconds. Badalona and Zovko, 2 truck lengths ahead, caught the ear-splitting sounds of the ambush. Instinct and training kicked in. Badalona slammed the accelerator, aiming to break free from this deadly trap. But every turn they took was met with more barricades, more gunfire. Making a swift decision, he attempted a U-turn, desperately trying to find an escape route. But even as they maneuvered, the sheer volume of gunfire was overwhelming. 2 bullets tore through the driver's seat, fatally wounding Badalona. Zovko, too, was hit, rendering the front SUV incapacitated. The 4 contractors, despite their unmatched expertise, found themselves overwhelmed in an arena where every turn became a death trap. They were hopelessly outnumbered, outgunned, and boxed in. The scene was nothing short of a war nightmare. Within minutes of the ambush starting, the dust began to settle. The gunfire subsided, replaced by a haunting silence. But what followed was even more gruesome. Locals, fueled by anger, poured out from every nook and corner. The contractors' weapons, radios, and personal effects were looted. The aftermath was a horrifying display of rage and disrespect. Dragged out of their SUVs, the bodies of these contractors were subjected to unspeakable acts of brutality. Beaten, burned, and desecrated, the final blow to their dignity came when their charred remains were hung over a bridge that spanned the Euphrates River. They became a grisly spectacle for the world to see, a symbol of the intense animosity and the volatility of the conflict. This wasn't just a regular attack, it was a meticulously planned ambush. Unbeknownst to the contractors, corrupt Iraqi forces played a treacherous role, guiding the convoy straight into this deadly trap. In the aftermath of the brutal ambush, the world watched, and the atmosphere in Iraq shifted drastically. Fallujah had already been a hotbed of insurgency, but this event fanned those flames into an inferno. The United States response was swift and massive. Only days after the ambush, the city became the epicenter of what would be known as the First Battle of Fallujah. It wasn't just a battle, it was a statement. Thousands of U.S. troops marched into the city, determined to root out the perpetrators. Tanks roared through its narrow streets, jets roared overhead, and every corner witnessed the echo of gunshots. The intensity was palpable, with each side refusing to back down. Amid the smoke and dust, the U.S. employed heavy artillery and airstrikes, turning parts of the city to rubble. But it wasn't just about combat. Amid the chaos, heart-wrenching tales emerged, questioning the preparedness of those who walked into the ambush. The contractors from Blackwater, seasoned as they were ill-equipped for that fatal mission. Reports trickled in, speaking of unarmored SUVs, of the absence of body armor, and most concerning of all, of inadequate intelligence that left them vulnerable. Families thousands of miles away watched in despair and anger. For them, it wasn't just about an international conflict. It was deeply personal. They had lost sons, brothers, and fathers. Their grief was magnified when they learned of potential lapses that might have contributed to the tragedy. The family of Scott Helvenston in particular felt the sting of betrayal. They pointed fingers at Blackwater, accusing them of not providing the necessary protection for their kin. Their grief took the shape of a lawsuit, dragging the company into court and demanding accountability. Yet Blackwater defended staunchly. They argued that they had done their part, and further, that they were immune to such lawsuits, being contractors for the government.